for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, and bentornato for those of you who have been here before. It's all about the pesto today. I know, I think last week I promised panzanella, but when I went out in the garden this morning, the arugula was calling to me. It was just at the perfect height, the perfect like growth to be nice and tasty, and I decided, hey, let's do a pesto with the arugula. So I went out in the garden, already picked it, and I cleaned it pretty well. It's not triple washed like they do at the grocery store, but I did make sure that the slugs were off and there weren't any eggs from those nasty bugs. Speaking of those nasty bugs, I found some bugs. They're called squash bugs. Who knew? I don't want squash bugs, and I don't want to know about squash bugs. Okay, so we won't talk about squash bugs. So in terms of pesto, I know, I've talked about this before when I made the pesto di sedano. I talked about how I'm not a fan of pesto made exclusively with basil. So today's pesto is going to be made mostly with arugula, but we're going to throw in a couple of other things that I had in the garden, basil being one of them, as well as some flat leaf parsley, also known as Italian parsley. So we're going to start with some almonds. I toasted these almonds earlier so that they could cool down. You can use any nut. You could use a pine nut or pinoli. You could use walnuts, almonds, pistachio, but I chose almonds for two reasons. One, I have them, and secondly, the Italians use almonds quite frequently in dishes. So here we go. We're going to just throw the almonds into the food processor. Plug your ears because it's going to get loud. And we're going to give this a quick little whirl. Turn it on. There. Oh, there. So we're just going to do a little spin on these and get them kind of chopped up. I think they need to be chopped up a little bit more. Oh, here. Let me switch the camera so y'all can see. My niecey said that tilt the camera so we can see what you're doing. So here's what I'm doing. I'm hitting the pulse button. Okay, so that's kind of chopped up. There we go. So almonds. Oh, I forgot to start the pasta water. I have to do that right now.
Linda just joined.
My sister Linda?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some help tonight. I have a sous chef as well as a comment moderator because last week apparently I missed seeing a message from my great niece who then was disappointed that I didn't comment, and now she's not even here tonight. Where is she? Let me know if you're here, Vera. Okay, so I meant to start the pasta water a little earlier because I have some people here to help me with the tasting. Because you always just hear me rave on about what I make, and I don't know if y'all believe me, but I have some objective friends here. Okay, as objective as friends can be.
We already have a question from your sister Linda wondering what you're drinking tonight.
Oh, Sister Linda, I'm drinking white wine in my favorite martini glass that came from my sous chef who's here this evening. It's a great story. Okay, so we just did the nuts. Now, I mentioned that I'm doing arugula. You need about 3 cups. I don't know what this weighs. I just put it in a thing and kind of look at what 3 cups are. I put a little basil in here, but it's mostly arugula. And we're going to do a little flat leaf parsley, which is also known as Italian parsley, is going to go in there as well. And then this all just goes right into the food processor. So we'll just stuff that down there. There we go. And if you hear any thunder in the background, we're having an awesome thunderstorm right now. So if you hear any rumbling, it's not our stomachs, it's actually thunder. So we'll stuff this in. So the arugula came out of the garden, and again, that's why we decided to do some pesto with it, because it's like smells so amazing, and it was young enough that it doesn't get all peppery. You know, if you leave arugula growing and it gets super mature, it just gets spicier and spicier. So we're gonna do a little pulse action again. and mix the nuts up with the greens. Oh, look at that. Oh, can you see? There you go. Can you see how we're getting like all that little green? Oh, those guys are getting stuck in the lid. There we go. There's that. Okay. Hold some more. You know what? I think we're going to be finished with the pesto before the pasta water. Oh man, that's what I get for not setting the alarm. So we'll just have to taste it without the pasta, but we'll eat that later. Trust us.
We have another question.
Yes.
The question is, if you were going to tell the story about arugula from the famous Thanksgiving.
Or
Oh!
actually infamous.
Oh!
Infamous Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay. Which sister or niece asked that question? Oh, it's the
That'd be
sister asking the question about this. Oh my gosh, that is embarrassing. And no, we're not going to talk about arugula at the Thanksgiving family dinner. Sister Linda. Yes, maybe we should ban her from the comments. Okay, so next, one of the things I do want to point out is that when you're using a green and you're choosing to do a pesto with something other than basil, which is actually my favorite kind of pesto, something other than basil, keep it to no more than 3 ingredients in your category of greens. Otherwise, you're going to have like all these flavors kind of competing with one another. And so in terms of the seasoning, I have some fresh oregano that also came out of the garden, some fresh thyme that also out of the garden. All of this is out of the garden. This is so fun. Summertime is so fun because there's things like that are in the garden. I'm going to give them a little chop with my Luna Mezza because I have one, and so I want to show how this works. And this thing is like amazing for chopping fresh herbs and chopping a number of things. You just kind of rock it back and forth. You don't have to worry about your fingers getting caught in the blade of a knife and losing part of your skin or anything. So we just chop, chop, chop.
You could lower the camera a little bit. I'm not sure they've seen it.
There we go. Thank
And
you.
your wine martini is.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, man.
So we're chop, chop, chop with the Mezzaluna. These things, they're magic. For the longest time, I resisted purchasing one, but then when I saw Giovanni using it, I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna go get one of those, which then I did. So we're gonna throw the oregano and the thyme into the mixture of the basil with our arugula and parsley all chopped up with the almonds. There we go. Can you all see that still? There we go. And I'm gonna do lemon zest because I am obsessed with lemon zest. So, here's something that I learned, and I didn't know this was the case. The water's boiling? No, not yet. So these are Meyer lemons. Wait, if I'm gonna do anything with a lemon, I'm using a Meyer lemon. So we're gonna zest a little Meyer lemon right into, I squirted that lemon into my wine. That's interesting. So, yeah, Meyer lemons are have the best flavor. Oops, we don't need the seeds in there. That's not cool. So one of the things I learned in Italy is I didn't know that there are some lemons you're not supposed to eat the skin or zest it or do anything. They have the lemons marked in Italy where they tell you whether or not the skin is edible. And it's like, I've never seen that in the US, so I have no idea. I haven't died yet, so I guess this is edible. I'm not sick or anything. So a little Meyer lemon zest. Meyer lemons are the best. And I tried to grow a Meyer lemon tree, but since I live in the Midwest, it didn't pan out so good during the winter. Maybe I would have to bring it inside, but I didn't, so lesson learned. We'll try another time or not. All right, so again, for the seasoning, you can do you could do pepper flakes, but since I'm using arugula and it's already a bit on the spicy side, I'm not going to do pepper flakes. I'm going to do this little lemon zest to help brighten it up a bit, and then the fresh oregano and fresh thyme, both because they're in the garden. Okay, so there's that, and then let's give that a little whirl. Little whirl. Any other questions going on?
Richard Brand just joined us and she says, hi, love Vera.
Oh, okay, Vera, did you hear? I gave you a shout out earlier. It's nice to have you here, Vera. Vera's my, like, I think she's 7 or 8, my great niece. Okay, water's boiling, so I'm gonna throw the pasta in. And, well, it's not quite boiling. I lied a little bit, but oh well. We've got places to go, things to do, like pesto to make. Okay, so little lemon zest. Let's give it a little pulse, get it all mixed in together, and now we're gonna throw in a little cheese into our pesto. So I use pecorino, already grated it. Use about, I don't know, half a cup or so. You could use Parmesan, you could use Gouda, you could use whatever you want, but since I am in love with pecorino, I always use pecorino for these things.
Question from Meg Barber about your favorite pasta.
Oh, so Meg, are you referring to pasta shape or like a pasta sauce? Because like in terms of a shape, that is a great question, Meg. I did mezza rigatoni, mostly because I had it available. But what I like about the mezza rigatoni is that there's little ridges on the outside of the pasta that'll help hold the sauce, as well as hollow pasta. Again, the sauce can go inside the hollowness of your pasta and hold the sauce. So some of it has to do with what the sauce is, what type of, basically what you're eating with the pasta, like the linguine or really thin spaghetti is good to have with kotse, mussels, or vangola, which I don't even know what those are in English. Something. I'll have to look it up. We'll need to do that. Anyway.
And Vera has a quick correction. She's 7.
Okay. Sorry, Vera, you're 7. Thank you for that. Okay, let's do another little pulse here with the cheese. Why is it not pulsing? Whoa.
Oh, the lid's not on.
Oh, thank you. See, this is why I have a sous chef. The lid's not on. It makes a difference. Okay, so now the cheese is in there. And now we're going to pour the olive oil in. I'm going to put the lid back on while I do this. And you heard me talk a lot about olive oil last week. I'm obsessed with olive oil, especially this one. Again, look how cool and green it is. It's so pretty. And I'm going to turn this on low. And we'll do the olive oil in while we spin. And this is a texture thing. So it's still a little dry. We'll add a little more olive oil until it kind of comes together. Okay, let's stop this. Needs a little more olive oil. And also while I have the lid off, we need a little pinch of salty salt because it needs some salt. Always salt.
You have a comment from Julie in St. Louis. No garlic?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so Julie in St. Louis, who's asking about the garlic, raw garlic has such a powerful, pungent flavor. It will overtake the other flavors in the pesto. And the other thing is, I don't like how garlic makes me smell. So kind of avoid it. And let's kind of cook. Is that needed stirring? Thank you. So other sous chef is reminding me, oh, I forgot to time this. Oh well, I'll just go by how it looks and feels. About 10 minutes.
We've been on for about 13 minutes.
Okay, total, so that needs some time still. We might have to taste it. 3 minutes, thanks.
That's my gut.
Okay. So let's give that a whirl with the salt and pepper. Let me see this texture. I'm going to give it a little more olive oil. We're going to do a little more olive oil. Because unlike garlic, which you can do too much, I'm not so sure that olive oil falls into that category. A little bit of olive oil is good. A lot better. Love that stuff. So, there was something about that talked about olive oil last week that I forgot to mention to you all. And then I was reminded about it this week and then I forgot again. Okay. I'm liking this texture. I'm liking this texture a lot. So let's give it a little scrape the sides a bit.
I think with the garlic you were gonna mention about how they're blended from different regions.
Oh, yes. Sous chef Julie from St. Louis is commenting. We were talking about olive oil actually last night, and one of the things is that I forgot to mention last week with olive oil is when you're shopping for olive oil and you're reading the ingredients on the can, look to make sure that the olives are all coming from the same region, like they're all from Sicily or they're all from Puglia or they're all well, not even all from Italy, but yeah, even Italy. Because sometimes the olive oils will mix them from different countries. And one of the things that happens when you mix from different countries is that it kind of blands out the uniqueness of when you have an olive just from the region, because, the olives are going to taste and pick up the flavors and the nuance of whatever region they're grown in and cultivated in. And if you start picking them from Greece and Spain and Italy and Turkey or whoever else grows them and putting them all together, you get a big old mishmash and you lose kind of that unique flavor that you get from the region. So thank you, Julie and sous chef, for reminding me of that.
And Vera's mom wants to know if she missed the arugula reminiscing.
Yes, sorry, you did. Sorry, Vera's mom. Okay, so let's do a little taste test with this. Oh my. Okay, so I'm gonna have my taste testers try this out too.
While you're doing that, you should know that you and your niece Vera are wearing matching jean overalls right now.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I was in the garden today, so I have my little farmer outfit on. See what you guys think. See what else it needs, if it needs any more pepper. I know. See, so you guys can now, my two sous chefs, say it out loud what you're tasting.
Arugula and the basil.
Oh,
and the Parmesan.
yeah.
The almonds came through on my palate first, but
Okay.
I smelled it before I ever put it in my mouth.
Oh, wow.
Like really smelled it, and I can taste a hint of the oregano that's in there, a hint of the thyme,
Yay.
and nothing overpowers anything else.
No.
See-
It's the balance.
Exactly.
It's
And
true.
that's the
It's
thing
like a
about the
symphony.
3 ingredients. So kind of remember that. It's like 3 is the magic number. When you're making your pesto, that your only 3 seasonings, or only 3 different greens. I actually have the same kind of perspective on pizza. Only 3 things on a pizza. Counting cheese is 1 and sauce is 2. So I like it simple. And that because the subtle flavors and the uniqueness, and that's part of the thing about Italian cooking and their food, is the simplicity of it. As I drool all over myself. So
Meg has a question and a comment. One, olives from one region, great tip. And are you trying to make it creamy or chunky?
oh, great question, Meg. Chunky, for me, chunky, because I like a little texture to the sauce, and the chunks will stick and hang onto the pasta more easily than if it's super creamy. So, speaking of pasta, needs a little more time, but so we're gonna have to eat the pasta when you all aren't watching. But there is one other thing I want to do. Because I have these, I roasted some peppers earlier in the week, and I'm looking at them going, okay, we need to do something with these. So I'm actually going to add these to the pesto to give them a little texture. I'm not going to mush it up, but I'm going to mix it by hand. So we'll just pull this out. And then that is, what did I call it? Pesto? No, Presto! Pesto! Say that 3 times quickly when you've been drinking wine out of a martini glass that your friend gave you. Okay, that's it. We're gonna cook up the pasta. We're gonna throw some of that pesto on our fresh made pasta, and bon appetito. Ciao. A domani? No. A settimana. We'll see you next week. Next week it might be eggplant, depending on how many are in the garden. I have so many things I want to show you with eggplant. Hopefully I have enough eggplant to go around that we can do that. Otherwise, and I do promise we will get to Panzanella. I swear. Cross my heart. All right. Ciao for now.